I stared at the invitation list. My name wasn't on it. I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a mix-up with the school system. Maybe my son Alex had forgotten to give them my name. But when I asked my wife Karen and Alex about it, I didn't get an apology. I didn't get an explanation. Instead, I got eye rolls. "You're taking this too far," Karen said, crossing her arms. "It's just a college graduation." Alex barely looked up from his phone. "Yeah, Dad. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. I had worked my ass off for this kid. Late nights at work, double shifts, vacations, so he could have a shot at a better life. And now, when the moment came to celebrate his success, I wasn't invited. Something didn't feel right. I looked at Karen, hoping she'd say something. Maybe tell me there was a reason, maybe the school had a limited guest list, or maybe I was getting a surprise. But she just shrugged. "We'll send you pictures," she said, turning back to the TV like my pain didn't matter. I was angry. But more than that, I was hurt. So, I did something I never do. I walked away without arguing. If they didn't want me there, fine. I wasn't going to sit around and wallow in their rejection. Instead, I booked a trip. A solo getaway. A week-long vacation to a quiet cabin up north. No phone calls. No drama. Just me, the woods, and some much-needed peace. Or at least, that was the plan on the day I left. Karen barely reacted. No, have fun or be safe. Just a half-hearted nod while scrolling through her phone. Alex. He didn't even come out of his room. That should have been my first clue. But the second clue came when I checked our shared credit card statement before I left. A hotel charge. A fancy one. Not in Alex's college town, but 2 states over. Strange. I almost asked Karen about it, but I stopped myself. What was the point? She just brushed it off. Instead, I let it go. I packed my bags, got in my car, and drove 6 hours into the mountains, determined to put my family's indifference behind me. I turned my phone on silent. No distractions. Just me and the open road. But that silence. It didn't last long. I was halfway into my trip, sitting by the lake watching the sun dip behind the trees when I decided to check my phone. And that's when I saw it. 125 missed calls from Karen. From Alex? Even from Karen's sister, who never called me unless there was an emergency. My stomach twisted. I clicked on the first voicemail. Karen's voice came through shaking. "Please, please call me back. We need to talk, it's urgent." Next voicemail. Something happened. "Alex, he just called me." My heart pounded. I dialed Karen's number. She picked up on the first ring. "Where the hell have you been?" She screamed. "Why didn't you answer your phone?" "What's going on?" I asked. My voice tight. Silence. Then Alex's missing eye shot up from my chair. "What do you mean missing?" He was supposed to be at his graduation. Another silence. Then, in a whisper, "He never went to graduation." I drove back that night. 6 hours barely blinking, my mind racing. Alex never went to graduation. That fancy hotel charge? That wasn't a mistake. When I got home, Karen was pacing the living room, her eyes red from crying. "Where is he?" I demanded. She shook her head. "We don't know. He left with some friends a few nights ago. We thought he was at school, but she swallowed hard. He never showed up to the ceremony." I clenched my fists. "So let me get this straight. You two acted like I was overreacting when I wasn't invited because he wasn't even going in the first place." She didn't answer. I turned to Karen's sister, who was sitting on the couch, avoiding my gaze. What aren't you telling me? I pressed. Finally, she sighed. Alex had plans. Plans that didn't involve graduation. And that's when I saw it. The crumpled piece of paper on the coffee table. An invoice from the hotel. 2 names on the reservation. Alex and someone I didn't recognize. A woman. It took me another 2 days to track Alex down. The police got involved. Calls were made. Finally, we got a hit. He had been spotted at a hospital 2 states away. Karen and I drove in silence, tension thick in the air. When we arrived, we found Alex in a hospital bed, his arm bandaged, his face pale. He looked up at me, eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years. Guilt. Dad, he croaked. I exhaled sharply. What the hell happened, Alex? And then the truth came out. He had skipped graduation to run away with his girlfriend. Not just any girlfriend, his married girlfriend. A woman in her late 30s, someone he had been seeing in secret for months. Her husband had found out there was a confrontation. It ended badly. Alex barely got away in one piece. I sat down, rubbing my temples. All this time, I thought my son had shut me out because he didn't care. But the truth? He was hiding. And Karen? She knew. She had known for weeks. That's why she dismissed me. That's why she didn't want me at graduation. Because there was no graduation. Because she didn't want me to know the truth. I wish I could say that things got better after that. But the truth is, they didn't. Alex recovered, but our relationship never did. I couldn't look at Karen the same way, knowing she had lied to my face. A few months later, I moved out. It wasn't about the graduation. It wasn't even about Alex's mistakes. It was about trust. And once it's broken, it never fully heals. The last time I spoke to Alex, he told me he was figuring things out. That he needed time. I told him I understood. But deep down, I knew some distances can't be closed. And some betrayals, you never come back from them.